Hello ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Radolescence and welcome back to another video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Today I am excited to talk to you guys about 4 fragrances that I recently picked up, and these are fragrances that are actually pretty affordable. If you're interested in checking these out, I am going to leave the links down below, probably because the bottles are so small, but they were actually composed by a gentleman by the name of Daniel Barros. And if you probably know Daniel Barros if you've ever been on Fragrantica.com. Basically, what Daniel Barros did is he used to write, and he still writes for Fragrantica. He's actually written a couple of books. He is a journalist for the website, but he recently got into making his own perfumes. If you're interested in reading an article about Daniel Barros and his fragrances, he was actually interviewed recently. I am going to leave a link to that Fragrantica article down below in case you're interested in checking it out. But he created a series of lines and a series of fragrances within the line, and all of them are inspired by different drinks. So we have Mojito. This one is called Cuir Mojito. This one is called Yuzucello, so limoncello or limoncillo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that exactly. We have Tobacognac. So this one, of course, cognac, alcoholic-y, boozy. I don't think they all have to do with different alcoholic spirits. I think they're just different drinks in general. And this one is Tonkachino, so tonka bean and cappuccino. So it has a coffee note in it. I think the way that he started making these fragrances is he started working on some fragrances, and then I think he had friends or loved ones smell it. And they kept telling him, oh, this smells like this drink. This smells like that drink, so on and so forth. So what ended up happening is Daniel said, if they all smell like drinks, you know what? Then I am just going to make fragrances that are inspired by different drinks. And that's basically what he ended up doing. I think these are incredible. And I'm not just saying this to say it. I'm saying it because I have come across creations by a lot of up-and-coming indie perfumers. A lot of them are really well done. I have a few indie perfumers that I speak very highly of. Josh Meyer from Imaginary Authors, Vincent Dreamhouse from the brand Curio. And then there are some, I've tried their fragrances. They smell a little unbalanced. You're not going to hear me talking a lot about those on my channel. And if I do, it's all going to be honest. But these fragrances are so well done. You would think that, and you can tell Daniel Barros is really well read up on his craft. He has done a ton of research, and I know he even uses the same website that I do where he gets his oils from, and it's called creatingperfume.com. And I think that's because I saw a picture, it might have been on his Facebook or his Instagram, but he had a picture and he had those bottles in the background. So I know he uses good quality ingredients. So anyways, let me go ahead and get into it. I want to tell you a little bit about these fragrances. All of the titles, they're actually portmanteaus. And what that means is it's a combination or an amalgamation of 2 or more words. So you have tonka bean, cappuccino, tonkachino. So let's talk about tonkachino. This fragrance in particular, first of all, I remember, man, it was a few years ago now, I had smelled a fragrance by Robert Elder for the brand Sebastian, and it's called Espresso Royale. And I remember thinking to myself, this is probably right next to Intense Cafe by Montal. And I know a lot of people say you don't get any coffee in that. I definitely get a lot of coffee in Intense Cafe. I'm not saying it lasts forever, but I remember thinking to myself, Espresso Royale is one of the most natural, one of the most realistic coffee-based fragrances I've ever smelled in my life. And I know the guru, Robes08 Mark, he agrees with that too. Well, we found a solid contender. I would say it's on the same level. It's so sweet, and it reminds you of winter. It reminds you of sitting in your living room. You have your fireplace turned on. Maybe you're playing classical music in the background. You're drinking a cup of cappuccino, and it's just sweet. You're watching the snowfall. It's such a cozy scent. I can't get enough of it. Which one is this now? This one is Yuzucello. And I think a lot of us know Yuzu because of its involvement or its inclusion in the fragrance Lotus et Poron by Issey Miyake. And it is a Japanese sort of citrus fruit that is used as a garnish. And I love this because it does kind of smell like a lemon candy, like a lemon sorbet at times, but it also smells like limoncello, the drink, the alcoholic mixer. And this is, again, so realistic. And I'm not saying it's natural smelling. I don't know what a yuzu smells like. I don't think I've ever smelled yuzu, the actual fruit. But this does smell like that drink. So again, very, very head on, very well done. This one is the, Tobacognac. And I actually finished making my top 10 favorite tobacco fragrances of all time. This fragrance actually made that list. It has one of the nicest combinations of tobacco and a boozy note. And you see it in a lot of fragrances. One of them is Bois d'Ambry by Eau d'Italie. I think that one is actually very spicy. It's very dry. It's very realistic. And then I think we have some that are very overdone, but in a good way. Something like Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. We have some other ones like Creationy by Roja Parfum, which again, tobacco booze, but it's animalistic. This one is one of the most wearable. I know even to some degree, people even complain about Tobacco Vanille. I don't know why. I love Tobacco Vanille. I think it's very wearable. For the people who think that Tobacco Vanille might be a little bit too much, try this one out, Tobacognac. It doesn't smell like Tobacco Vanille, similar elements, really well done, incredibly natural smelling. And then the last one is the Cuir Mojito. Let me tell you guys, Mojito, one of my favorite ingredients in perfume, one of my favorite accords in perfume. We're talking about Guerlain Homme. We're talking about 1861 Renaissance by Xerjoff. We're talking about Aquadecima by Eau d'Italie. I love anything that has a Mojito accord. I believe there's even, I think it's either a Mark Buxton fragrance or a Pierre Guillaume fragrance. I don't remember now, but even that one smells amazing. This one, again, it falls within the same line. I do have to say though, it's more of a leather scent than it is a Mojito scent. The leather is very loud and clear in this scent. Nonetheless, it's a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. Definitely make sure you check it out. And Daniel actually said this to me. I don't know if he would mind if I repeat this, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. He says his fresh scents aren't doing really well. They're not really his best sellers. He said these are his powerhouses, right? The heavier scents, and these are actually the ones that I requested. How should I put this? He sees more of a future in these scents, but what I have to say is that these two, the fresher scents, they have a lot of promise, because I think when we see fresh scents, especially on the designer side of the industry, they're usually very citrus based, very citrus heavy, very transparent. Some of them are rather aqueous and aquatic, and a lot of them are, you know, they fall flat in many ways. These have such a power behind them. They have such a backbone to them. I particularly love them. So I'm actually really excited to try some of your other offerings. Daniel, I think you're doing a wonderful job. I hope this video came as a bit of a surprise to you. I love your line. I wanted to make a video talking about your fragrances, and I hope that's okay with you, and I hope you appreciate that. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That was my video on a few Daniel Barros fragrances. If you would like to see me tackle one of these 4 fragrances in a full-fledged review, let me know. I would be more than happy to do a follow-up. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe for future videos, top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, and a lot of other fragrance-related content. So remember, I smell well so you can smell good, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.